Netflix is bringing us an English-language adaptation of a manga that has already received an anime series, a Japanese language series adaptation, as well as a movie. Kakegurui, or Bet, as this version is known, is a fast-paced, angsty drama that manages to capture the spirit of an anime. But is the story worth investing in? When Yumeko, a mysterious transfer student, arrives at a boarding school for the global elite, where underground gambling determines the school's hierarchy, her gambling prowess puts her in the crosshairs of the powerful student council, while her secret quest for revenge threatens to upend the school's status quo entirely. Yumeko is our main character, and she is this bubbly young woman who will have serious looks and intense concentration before exploding in a giggly laugh that feels as though the reaction was taken directly from an anime. And she does it enough that it's less of a gimmick and more of a charming attribute, especially once we learn how she approaches her gambling thrills. This is 10 episodes of YA-driven drama, and right there, that could be enough to turn you completely off from the show. Mixed in with all of the tension and pseudo-crises the teens face is a mystery that Yumeko is attempting to solve so that she can exact her revenge on someone who wronged her. Now, the intrigue of the storyline, it's decent, especially with all the scheming and backstabbing that goes on as the characters maneuver for dominance. But with that also comes a massive amount of ridiculousness. First, the boarding school Yumeko is transferred to never seems to have any adults of any sort present, ever. I don't think I ever saw one teacher, or heck, even just a janitor roaming the hallways. This provides the plot conveniences for the plethora of gambling to take place, along with the increasingly harmful stakes that the contests create. Now, I was willing to go with these conveniences simply because the characters are just over the top and caricatures of people, mirroring what I assumed the manga to be. And with these exaggerated personalities, they need the freedom to act like high-class trash panda instruments of chaos. The crazier the situations become, the less we need any sort of rationality or responsibility to be thrust upon the students by some random adult. That would just ruin the flow. So instead, this series negates pretty much any adult involvement in favor of letting the ultra-privileged consume each other through their greedy games. Now, each episode is around 30-ish minutes, so it is a pretty quick binge. But during that binge, you'll probably notice a lot of repetition in the formula. Yumeko will progress a bit in her quest, sometimes helping another student along the way, and other times laying the foundation for some upcoming scheme. And this happens in just about every episode. So while it does draw out the intrigue somewhat effectively, it also makes the story longer than's probably necessary. Now, in addition to the quirkiness of Yumeko, there are a few other characters who seem to come straight out of the manga. We have a henchwoman, seemingly the second in command of the ruling students, and she is always seen wearing this very stylish COVID mask. Why? I don't know, who knows? It's unimportant. It just makes her more mysterious and then a little menacing. Then we have this gamer who wears an eye patch and basically goes berserk in any group situation, wreaking terror and havoc on all the other students, especially those that are deemed less than worthy of the ultra elite. She's a riot to watch because of the extreme behaviors and mannerisms that she possesses. Thankfully, though, even though these characters could be very one-dimensional and just simply be exactly what you see on the exterior, the writing for this adaptation allows them to have some hidden or maybe hard-to-reach emotional depth. And it's not obvious from the start, but as the show progresses, we get to see how despite their outward facade, they're hurt or scared or just simply vulnerable on the inside. And what we see externally is just mainly for show. Now, something else the show employs, which feels very much like a manga or anime, is the use of creative intros and some graphical effects. Now, each beginning is unique, and it showcases a lot of just visual imagination. And while these don't make or break the show, it is another nod to the source material, at least in the art form. I can't speak to how true this adaptation is to its source, because I haven't read it. Now, the games the students gamble in can be strange, exciting, even suspenseful. Some bets are your standard poker or blackjack. Others, like a game called Shame, revolve around personal secrets and how your heartbeat reacts to being outed. Another involves a guillotine. That's all I'm going to say about that one. But the consequences can be dire, and despite some of the bravado that the characters bring, there are still some anxiety-producing moments that prevent the storytelling from becoming dull. So much of the plot also revolves around the idea of power plays and perceived status, creating this hierarchy of importance even within the one percenters who attend the school. Being super rich, that's not enough. Some of these kids need to humiliate everyone else to hopefully fill the voids within their own lives, and then live up to the expectations of their families. It's a dark and twisted concept, but it's also entertaining and engrossing. I think in the show's effort to thrust us into the drama and provide stress for the storytelling, the story skimps on a lot of character development. I mean, we get the most on Yumeko, and then through the course of the show, we receive some on other characters, like I'd mentioned before, but the majority of the main players, they receive minimal background, making the arcs rely more on their usefulness within a game rather than providing a deeper connection with the overall story. And because of all these kids, I mean, even if we just focus on the central 8 or 10, they all have extreme emotional baggage they carry. And it'd be nice to dive into that to create some impactful storylines that are memorable, rather than just being a highlight of a moment and then fade once more into the background, losing all importance and value. And the ending is also something that I'm not sure I'm completely satisfied with. There are some key moments that progress us closer to a resolution, but the story isn't anywhere near complete. At the time of this recording, there wasn't news of a second season. Fingers crossed, though, that we're going to get another set of episodes so that the arcs and mystery can fully play out, and we can learn if Yumeko will be able to solve her mystery and then carry out her vengeance. So, as somebody who's not hugely into anime or manga, I found myself hooked on the show, despite the colossal plot conveniences and the absurd situations the students created. The extravagant and even melodramatic characters feel as though they've been taken directly from a manga, constructing vibrant and wild personas full of angst, hubris, passion, and a bit of cheese. And while the series focuses more on inducing stressful wagers, which makes character development thin and relies on repetitive formulas to build each episode, the show maintains its edge through a wink and a nod, understanding that even though the concept is somewhat ridiculous, the series fully embraces the tone and goes all in to deliver a winning hand. There's no sex or nudity, a lot of profanity, and some violence. I give season 1 of Bet 3.5 out of 5 couches. This is cheesy for sure, but it's also my type of cheese. And if you know what you're getting yourself into, I do think you can have a fun ride with it. Alright, so what's the most you've ever lost in a coin toss? If you don't have a hole in the head from some pneumatic piston, I would love to hear what sorts of games you enjoy playing. It doesn't even have to involve gambling. Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this review, please give it a like. Also, don't forget to share and subscribe. I'm Chris. This is Movies and Munchies. Thanks for couching with me.